Hachette Audio presents Julian Fellowes' Belgravia, Episode 11, Inheritance. Written by Julian Fellowes. Read by Juliet Stevenson.
Caroline Brockenhurst stared at her visitor. She could hardly take in what she was saying. "I don't understand," she said at last. Anne was not surprised. It was a great deal to digest. She had thought for some time how best to explain the situation, but in the end she'd come to the conclusion that she just had to say it. "We know now that your son Edmund was legally married to my daughter Sophia before he died. Charles Pope is legitimate, and in fact is not Charles Pope at all. He's Charles Bellicis, or to be exact, Viscount Bellicis, and the legal heir to his grandfather." James Trenchard had come home that day bursting with joy. He held in his hand the proof he'd been waiting for. His lawyers had registered the marriage, and it had been accepted by the Committee of Privileges. At least this last would take some time to complete, but the lawyers had scanned the evidence, and they could see no difficulty. In other words, there wasn't any further need to keep it secret. It was Anne who decided they must tell Lady Brockenhurst straight away, so she'd walked round and found her alone, and now she had told her the news. Caroline Brockenhurst sat in silence as a million different thoughts jostled for a place in her brain. Would Edmund really have married without telling them? And the daughter of Wellington's victualler? At first she was filled with indignation. How could this possibly have happened? The girl must have been a little minx. She knew Sophia had been pretty. Caroline's sister, the Duchess, had told her that much. But what a schemer she must have been into the bargain. Then the greater truth started to impress itself on her. They had a legitimate heir, she and Peregrine, and an heir who was industrious, talented, and clever. Of course he must abandon his trading at once, but he would, as soon as he knew the facts of the case. He could bring his abilities to bear at Lymington or on their other estates. Then there were the London properties that no one had done much with in a century or more. There was such a lot for him to tackle. She concentrated again on the woman before her.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?